If Sony was to ever take the God of War franchise and make a Metroidvania version of it, Prince of Persia Lost Crown is the template they should follow. Everything with regards to this game's art style, graphics, musical score, voice acting, combat, level design is top tier. As a matter of fact, Prince of Persia Lost Crown is one of the best ways to start 2024. The game is nearly flawless in virtually every single way. When you start the game, it needs to be noted that the game does want you to connect to the Ubisoft servers, and that's because the game does feature cross-save functionality. So while I know it's a single-player game, and this may be, a wrench in people's gut, but the reality of it is, it does ask you to connect to the Ubisoft servers because it supports cross-save functionality. That being said, Metroidvanias typically are of the more challenging variety, and Ubisoft has done a fantastic job making the game very accessible. Whether it is changing the map to an exploration to highlight your main path, to customizing the difficulty options, and essentially allowing you, the player, to adjust the difficulty as you see fit. Even for the platforming sections of the game, the platforming sections, the main quest sign, you can add the assist, turn it on, and allow you to skip the difficult platforming sections. So the game is definitely accessible to a wide skill variety, and if you do want a more punishing game, by all means, increase the difficulty and make it harder for yourself if that's what tickles your fancy. But once you get into it and you start playing the game, you'll quickly see that the art style takes shape. Whether the story, how it's told with certain scenes being told via a comic book style cutscene, or how the game meshes both 3D and 2D gameplay. The game is entirely in 3D, but it's played 2D as a side-scrolling Metroidvania. With regards to the story, I'm going to be honest here, the story was very, very surprising. I thought going into the game that the story was going to be pretty straightforward and pretty linear. Little did I know, it's full of twists and turns until the very end, which was very, very surprising for me given the type of game that it is. Aside from this, though, Prince of Persia Lost Crown checks all the boxes. You'll go through the world, you'll fight a whole bunch of enemies, you'll eventually earn enough currency that you can upgrade your character, both in terms of weapons, amulets, skills, etc. But one of the brilliant things that they've done with this game is the ability to have memory shards. This memory shard, I hope all Metroidvanias take this going forward, but essentially it allows you, the player, to create a screenshot image within the game of a location and put it on your map. The purpose of this is, as with Metroidvanias, you typically go to an area, realize you can't progress any further, and have to come back after acquiring a certain skill. The issue always comes in the form of trying to remember what part of the map required what skill. This memory shard allows you to just take a screenshot, look at the screenshot, you can be like, oh wait, I have an ability, but it's not for this section, it's for this section, without having you to actually traverse all the way to it to figure out you went to the wrong one. So it is a very, very, very good addition and a good quality of life change that I hope other Metroidvanias take note of. The other thing I will say about the game is how much fun it is. Combat is very, very tight. When you start the game, combat will seem very, very simple because you have no skills. Once you get towards the latter half of the game and you acquire all of these skills, you will sit there and really see how deep the combat goes with the combos and what you can string together. There's even an NPC in your main base where you buy your upgrades and everything that will train you on how to do combos and show you how you can use your new skills. I actually recommend you play these tutorials and challenges because they actually give you in-game currency that will then allow you to upgrade your character even further. Now, I spoke how great the combat is, but the combat is really great because of the boss battles themselves. Prince of Persia Lost Crown has a lot of bosses, and the bosses that you will encounter, they vary in size, shapes, attack patterns, etc. And as you progress through the game and you learn more and more skills, knowing how to use these skills becomes far more imperative with how you beat the bosses. Boss battles can oftentimes feel like you're playing a Dark Souls game where you have to memorize the attack patterns and know what you can dodge, what you can parry, and when to attack and when not to attack. Now, it's not as punishing as a Souls game where you have to start miles away from the boss and you lose your currency. No, none of that is present here. But you do need to be mindful that the bosses are quite challenging, but they are a blast to play, especially in the latter half of the game. However, despite how much of a good time I had with Prince of Persia Lost Crown, the game wasn't perfect. And by wasn't perfect, I mean I only have one issue, one big game-breaking issue. And that was with regards to a side quest. Now, I don't know if this is a widespread thing. I don't know if every other person's going to have this. But there was a side quest that I couldn't pick up. As you go through the world, you have your main quest, you have your side quests. And side quests, when you are offered them, you have the option to pick them up. There was an NPC that I found in the world. I went to go converse with them. They offered me the side quest. And every time I picked up the side quest, the game would freeze completely. I couldn't move. I couldn't do nothing. I had to shut the game down and reboot it. I've tried different things to allow me to pick it up, but for one reason or another, I couldn't pick up this side quest. Now, it might be a thing for the achievements, the trophies, etc., because I don't know the list. I don't know if you have to complete all the side quests as part of getting the platinum. But from the main story perspective, it didn't impede my gameplay and it didn't impede my ability to roll the credits. However, not being able to pick up that side quest could have implications when it comes to trophy hunters and things of that nature. So it was a game-breaking bug. I don't know if it's a widespread issue. I haven't seen anyone else really talk about it, but it is an issue that I experienced in my playthrough. So hopefully you don't experience it, and hopefully Ubisoft fixes it if it's an actual issue. But that was the only thing. That was the only thing that I had an issue with Prince of Persia. If that quest didn't bug out and didn't freeze my game, this game would be a flawless 10 out of 10 for me. It was a great blast. I would start the game, look at the time, and be like, where did 3 hours go? It is a blast to play front to back. Every single metric that you can use to evaluate this game, it's a quality product. It's just that one aspect of the game that taints it. But aside from this, it would have been a perfect experience for me. So I'm giving Prince of Persia The Lost Crown a 9 out of 10. This is a top tier game and a great way to start 2024. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.